welcome to this video on how to chop. Chopping is a percussive bowing technique that originated in American bluegrass music. It's also often used by string players in a jazz context, such as the Turtle Island String Quartet. Today in this video, I'd like to show you 4 basic steps to get you started on chopping. Step number 1 is the downbow chop, that's what I call it, and it goes like this. Coming from the air, you pull your bow onto the string in a miniature downbow, creating a tension on the string with your bow. And it sounds like this. The actual downbow on the string is very, very short. It's just about 1 millimeter or 2. It's tiny. This is the downbow chop in fake slow motion. The center of the movement is in my fingers, hand, and wrist, so my upper arm isn't really that active. If you just hit the string with your bow coming from above, you can't really make a sound, a choppy sound. You do need that lateral movement, that downbow movement, even though it's very short, to make it sound like a chop. What beginners often do intuitively is that they bounce up again after their downbow chop, but that doesn't work because you need to have your bow hanging in this tension on the string in order to be prepared for the next step. It's a little counterintuitive at first because it feels a little bit like, but you do need this tension. I've seen some cellists who chop with a little bit of this movement added in, sort of parallel to the string movement. Personally, I don't do that as much, but I'd advise you to just fool around with it and play around with it and let your fingers find out what works best for you. Step number 2 is the upbow chop. That's what I call it. And to do that, I dampen the strings with my left hand, and beginning in that tension with my bow and the string, I make a miniature upbow stroke up into the air, like this. I'll do that in fake slow motion. So in combination, these 2 steps sound like this. Step number 3 is the ghost chop. And what you do is, coming from the air, you basically just lay down the bow onto the string, creating a tension in preparation for the next step. And all you hear is a little ghost note, dead note. Now I'm going to play a pattern combining the 3 steps I just showed you. The downbow chop, the upbow chop, a ghost chop, and another upbow chop. Step number 4 is a little variation you can do with your upbow chops. You don't need to dampen the strings. You can also play a note or an open string. So here's the combination of downbow chops and sounded upbow chops. And so now a combination of all 4 elements we've just had, the downbow chops, the upbow chops, ghost chops, and sounded upbow chops, could sound something like this. If you're watching this video on my homepage, www.groovecello.de, then you can just hit the button down there to download the PDF file with the sheet music of the piece I was just playing. And if you're watching this video from some other web page, come.